Adriana. I'm in the first semester of the bachelor's degree. This is Language as a System with PhD Norma Flores Gonzalez. And my presentation is about language and linguistics at a glance. Well, this presentation has the purpose, in a very general way, to get close or to start learning about language and linguistics. This is a topic that we as English teachers should be interested and passionate about, since it's our subject. And well, the world of language is wonderful. Okay, the content is, well, we will see what is language, what language is, its characteristics or features, how it's acquired of learning or learned, phonetics and phonology, morphology, and syntax. Well, generally speaking, language is a system that we use to communicate, either with sounds, written signs, even gestures. But can we consider every attempt of communication a language? I don't think so. Because even though some animals have, to a certain extent, systems of communication, like bees, ants, whales, they are not an arbitrary system as humans. Here are some characteristics or features. I'll mention them very, very fast. We have arbitrariness. There is no connection between forms and meaning. A word, the meaning is arbitrary. Displacement is very interesting. We as humans can refer to an event that is happening right now or happened in the past or will in the future, differently from animals. Productivity, we can produce endless utterances, new utterances. Language is acquired depending on the country that we are born, and we pass it from one generation to another. Discreteness, all the sounds in the language are different and they have an effect in the meaning, so they are treated as discrete. And duality, language is organized into level, the physical productions of sounds and how they are combined. This has to do with phonology. Other features are the auditory channel. The language is usually produced by the vocal cords and received by the ear. Reciprocity, the sender of the message can become the receiver and vice versa. Specialization, non-directionality, and rapid fade, just to mention some of them. Well, we will see some of the most important linguists and researchers. We have Piaget, which was one of the first ones. He said that children first acquire knowledge through their senses and manipulating things. This is a sensory motor stage. Then we have the pre-operational, in which kids learn to playing, but they still don't have like a very logical structure. Concrete operational, kids begin to think more logically, but more rigid and not, they cannot elaborate abstract concepts. And finally, the formal operational stage, which is the ability of reasoning at a more complex and abstract level. Krashen's monitor hypothesis, it's kind of complex because he has up to 9 hypotheses, but within these ones, one of the principles is the affective filter hypothesis. The affective filter talks about that in order to learn effectively, you need to have the correct environment, positive, you have to feel good about it. Well, then one of the most famous and still alive, Noam Chomsky, he has the innateness hypothesis. Children are born with a neurological ability to utilize words. And the critical age, he says that there is a critical age in which we can acquire language without a specific training. In one article from Fromkin and Brotman, they mention a case of some children who for some reason have grown in the jungle without any training and they don't know how to speak. That's interesting. And then we have Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. Well, this is like you have a potential zone, and then with the exposure and training, you reach the point of autonomy. Phonetics and phonology, well, A phoneme is like a meaning distinguishing sound in a language, and phonetics refer to the characteristic of sounds, how they are physically produced. And phonology is the study of the system, the study of the system of sounds. Here we have the phonetic international alphabet. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet and around 43 different phonemes. We have voice sounds, voice sounds with a vibration like and voiceless sounds. There is no vibration of the vocal cords, like p, p. Some, for example, p and b are bilabial, and alveolar is t, d. So, depending on the position, how you put your mouth and teeth, tongue, you make sounds. We have stops, fritatives, affixatives, nasals, and approximants. Well, another branch of linguistics is morphology, which comes from the Greek morpho, which means shape, and ology, which means study. So it's the study of words. A word is the smallest independent piece of language. And then we have word formation, a very wide topic. This is how we can form compound words. We can have compounding and multi-compounding. Compounding, for example, skydive, bittersweet. Multi-compounding would be superhighway, for example. Prefix, the morphemes can be affected by an affixation is the process which the morphemes can be affected, either by a prefix that goes before the morpheme or a suffix which goes after it. For example, unnatural, transparency. Then we have unpredictable formations. There are borrowing words from other languages. Conversion, for example, a word which can be a verb or a noun. For example, in the case of a dance or to dance. Acronyms, they are words derived from initials of other words. Blending, this is how we make words mixed from other words, for example, motel, grunge, workaholic. Clipping is the process of making a word shorter. Derivation is when you form a new word from its base. Then we have syntax. This is like the glue that puts everything together, because it refers to how we put the ideas in order by the organization of words and clauses. Clauses can be done by coordinating conjunctions and both some or subordinating conjunctions, also even though linkers, in addition, besides, furthermore. And as for sentences, we have declarative, imperative, exclamative, and interrogative. And well, we finish with the syntactic analysis. Also, sentences can be simple, they miss the flight. Compound, they miss the flight because they overslept. And complex, they miss the flight because they overslept, therefore they took a pause. Now we have 3 sentences involved, and this is a very nice and beautiful syntax tree. Here we have they missed the flight because they overslept. We can see all the parts of the speech one by one. Then we have to put phrases. For example, they missed is a predicate phrase. The flight would be an article plus noun, it's a noun phrase. Together they form one simple sentence, they miss the flight. We have a conjunction, so whenever we see a conjunction, we know this is a compound sentence. And they overslept, we have a noun, which is a pronoun, and then we have a verb, which is overslept, and we have a predicative phrase. In this case, it functions as a complete sentence because it has a subject and a verb, and together they form a compound sentence. Well, the conclusion, as we said, this is just a glance because this subject is too wide and long, no? But well, I think the most fascinating thing about language is that it is a living entity, because it has life, it changes, it's not static. It has to do with lifestyles, places, cultures, even technology. So I think language is a precious treasure which needs to be taken care of, because it's one of the most important inheritages for our future generations. Here are my references. Thank you very much.